Imagine this. You love someone so deeply that they've become part of your identity. And yet, holding on to them is slowly tearing you apart. Sounds brutal, right? Because here's the truth nobody tells you. Sometimes the hardest battle isn't losing someone. It's learning how to let them go. You might think you're the only one stuck in this cycle, checking your phone, replaying conversations, convincing yourself that maybe, just maybe, things could go back to how they were. But trust me, you're not alone. Millions of people are silently fighting this same invisible war every single day. And here's the crazy part. Detaching from someone you love doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you're cold or heartless. It means you finally decide to protect your peace, to take your life back, and to heal. In this video, we're going to break down exactly how to do that, step by step, chapter by chapter. Some of what you'll hear might sting, but if you stick with me, you'll walk away not only freer, but stronger than you ever thought possible. So, if you're ready to finally break the chains, stay with me, because what's coming next might just change the way you look at love forever. Chapter 1. Why we can't let go. Imagine waking at 3 a.m., phone asleep on the bedside table, and still you reach for it like a reflex, thumb hovering over a conversation that ended months ago. You tell yourself, just one look. That one look becomes 10. 10 becomes an hour. By sunrise, you've replayed the same 3 sentences in your head so many times they've become a ritual. That sensation, like a small, insistent knot at the base of your throat, isn't a moral failing. It's biology with a broken script. Let me tell you about Maya. She was the kind of person who built playlists around someone's laugh. She rearranged weekends to match their schedule and could remember the exact phrasing of a text that made her stomach drop. When it ended, she kept looking for reasons to stay connected. Old photos, birthday notifications, the small promise of maybe next time. She thought she was weak. She thought she'd never feel whole again. But here's the truth that changes the story. What Maya felt wasn't weakness. It was her brain doing precisely what it was trained to do, seeking connection, rewarding the hope of reunion, and punishing the pain of loss. The part of you that won't let go is literally trying to keep you alive in social terms. Humans evolved to live in groups. Belonging isn't optional for our ancestors' survival, and your brain still treats it that way. There are 3 forces working against you when you try to let go. First, the reward loop. When someone makes you feel seen, your brain hands out chemicals, little hits of oxytocin, dopamine, reassurance. Those hits create a craving. Not unlike sugar or scrolling, the craving wants more. That craving doesn't think in fairness. It only knows the next hit. So you find yourself chasing ghosts in the exact places that once felt real. Second, identity fusion. You didn't just love a person, you folded them into your story. We became part of who I am. Lose the person, and your brain trips on the question, who am I now? That identity gap opens space for obsessive checking, rehearsing conversations, and imagining alternative endings. It's not stubbornness. It's you trying to stitch together a self that suddenly feels incomplete. Third, the loop of meaning. Humans are pattern machines. We attach meaning to moments. Small things become proof. A song on the radio, a smell, a time of day, each becomes a breadcrumb. Your mind becomes an investigator and a prosecutor at once, selecting evidence that supports one conclusion. Hold on. That's the sunk cost engine running in the background. Because you invested, therefore it mustn't have been wasted. Now, here's a little secret I wish someone had told Maya sooner. Knowing why your brain clings doesn't magically unstick it, but it does flip the script from shame to strategy. When you understand the machinery, you stop blaming yourself for what's actually human. You stop mistaking the intensity of your feelings for proof that they should control you. Picture this. Your brain is like a field with a path beaten into it. Every time you walk the same route, checking, scrolling, replaying, you compact that soil. Over time, the path becomes a road. Knowing that means you can start walking a different route. You don't have to bulldoze the field overnight. You just need to take a new step. Repetition builds new trails. That's the quiet power we'll use in this whole series. Let me give you one small experiment to try right now. No complicated therapy homework, just a tiny, honest move. Take out your phone, not to check messages. Hold it like a prop. Close your eyes and name 3 things you do for this person that you can, starting today, do for yourself. Keep them simple. Cook 1 meal for myself. Go for a walk at 6. Write 1 unsent letter and then delete it. Writing them down is key. That act shifts your brain from craving to planning. It's a tiny, tangible proof that you are redirecting your energy. You're not healing by erasing feelings. You're healing by learning to hold them without letting them run your life. By the end of this chapter, you should leave with 2 ideas carved in your head. 1, you are not broken. Your wiring is doing its job. And 2, there's a method to undo the habit, slowly, humanly, and without shame. The rest of this series will give you the tools to reroute those neural roads. But none of it will matter if you don't first give yourself permission to view your pain as understandable instead of unforgivable. If this landed, if reading Maya's story felt like reading your own, do something small and kind for yourself right now. Hit like if this resonated. It helps others who are stuck find this exact moment. Subscribe if you want the next chapter to show you the first concrete steps to pull your attention back to your life. And in the comments, type 1 sentence. What's 1 small thing you'll do for yourself this week? I read every comment, and I promise, you won't be alone in this. Chapter 2, Facing the Truth, Naming Your Emotions and Breaking the Spell. You ever notice how the moment you try to explain why you can't stop thinking about them, you always land on the same flat answer? I miss them. That sentence is a soft blanket for a dozen sharper truths hiding underneath. Loneliness, fear, shame, boredom, anger. Saying I miss them is easy. Naming the real thing is hard. And the harsh little secret is this. If you don't name the true feeling, you'll keep replaying the same loop as if the problem were the person, when really the problem is an unnamed emotion running the show. Let me take you back to Maya for a second. After the breakup, she had nights where she'd stare at the ceiling and tell herself, I just miss them. Weeks in, she noticed the same pattern. A text check, a trip down memory lane. That slow, sick hope that this time they'll reply differently. One evening, exhausted from the loop, she did something tiny and decisive. She stopped mid-scroll, closed her eyes, and whispered to herself, I'm lonely. I'm afraid I'll be forgotten. I'm angry that I lost my plans. She didn't say, I missed them. She said 3 real things. It didn't make the pain vanish. It did something better. It defanged it. That precision is a tool. It separates the emotion from the spell it casts. Here's why this works. Emotions are not a single blob. Science shows that the more precisely you label your feeling, grief versus loneliness, shame versus guilt, the better you become at handling it. Psychologists call this emotional granularity. When your inner vocabulary is rich, your reaction choices expand. When you stick to the lazy category, I miss them, your brain locks into a very small set of survival reactions. Seek, check, hope. So how do you actually do this? Below are 3 research-backed moves that are simple, fast, and shockingly effective when repeated. The Name It drill, 60 to 90 seconds. 1. Pause. The next time the urge hits, phone in hand, heart racing, stop. Put the phone face down. Breathe in for 4, out for 6. 2. Label precisely. Say out loud or write 3 words that describe the feeling. Not I miss them. Try lonely, humiliated, anxious, or nostalgic, afraid of being alone, angry. 3. Note the body. Describe 1 physical sensation, tight chest, buzzing stomach, numb hands. 4. Choose 1 tiny response, 1 concrete action you can do in the next 5 minutes. Make tea, step outside for 2 minutes, text 1 trusted friend, write 1 sentence in a notebook. Why it matters. Naming reduces the hold emotion has. It gives your prefrontal cortex a chance to step in. You move from being pushed by the feeling to observing it and choosing how to respond. The third person write, 10 minutes. Write about the breakup like you're describing it to a friend in the third person. Instead of, I felt stupid, write, she felt stupid. Call out the facts, the context, the triggers, and the lessons. Research on self-distancing shows this simple shift reduces rumination and gives you perspective. It doesn't numb you. It lets you see how you reacted and why, which is the raw material for change. Break the story, not yourself, the evidence check. Pick one looping belief. I'll never find love again. I ruined everything. I'm worthless. Now play detective. List 3 concrete facts that contradict the belief. Maybe you've had other relationships before. Maybe you've thrived after hard things. Maybe people have told you you're kind. This is cognitive defusing. You separate belief from reality. The belief loses authority. Tools you can use tonight. Emotion wheel or app. If you're stuck on words, an emotion wheel gives finer choices than sad or angry. Unsent letter. Write everything you feel, then delete or burn it. The act of language and ritual seals a boundary. Simple grounding. Name 3 things you see, 2 things you hear, 1 thing you feel. Then do the name it drill. Short circuits the autopilot. Back to Maya, what changed? The first night she named lonely, ashamed, nostalgic, she chose a response. Call her sister and tell her one memory that made her laugh. The memory didn't fix the loneliness, but the act of naming plus shifting attention prevented that midnight scroll. 3 nights later, the urge came and the pattern was different. It didn't end her pain overnight, but it took away its power to hijack her decisions. Here's the non-romantic truth. You don't heal by erasing the story. You heal by getting fluent in your inner weather. Once you can say, this is loneliness, you can decide whether to feed it with old texts or heal it with a new ritual. That switch is the beginning of freedom. If you tried one thing from this chapter, pause and name your feeling. Then you already did more than most people. Before we move on to building practical boundaries that protect this new ground, do one small thing for me. In the comments, write one exact word for how you feel right now. I'll read through them. No drama, just human company. If this landed, hit like so others who are stuck can find it. And subscribe to get Chapter 3, where we start building the boundaries that actually keep you breathing and moving forward. Chapter 3, Boundaries that Heal. The power of no contact and clear limits. Your phone vibrates. It's 3 words. We need to talk. For a half second, your chest drops like a trapdoor, and then you remember. You promised yourself no contact. That promise felt like a cliff jump when you made it. Now the cliff is wobbling under your feet. That moment, when someone else tries to hustle you back into the old loop, is where boundaries either become armor or become excuses. The difference? How you build them and how ruthlessly you enforce them for yourself, not to punish the other person, but to protect your fragile progress. Let me tell you what happened with Maya. After Chapter 2, she finally named the emotions that had been driving her: loneliness, shame, the itch for validation. She decided on no contact. Her first attempt lasted 48 hours before a message from him hit. She read it. Her hands shook. She typed a reply, deleted it, typed again. Then she remembered something we all forget in the heat of wanting. A boundary is not a suggestion, it's a practice. So she changed tactics. She treated the boundary like a job she'd been promoted to, with a contract, tools, and a small crew, her sister and one friend, who knew the plan. She set precise rules: no texting, unfollow, change route home, and one emergency-only rule for shared responsibilities. That structure stopped the 50 micro-temptations that had been bending her every day. And slowly, not overnight, the pull weakened. Here's what boundaries actually do. They interrupt the reward loop. They remove easy access to the dopamine hits you keep chasing. They give your prefrontal cortex time to rebuild the bridge to intentional action. Boundaries aren't mean, they're medicine. Practical, non-bullshit ways to build boundaries that stick. 1. Choose your boundary style and name it out loud. Full no contact, 0 calls, texts, DMs, in-person visits. Best when possible, fastest for healing. Time-limited no contact. I'm taking 30 days away so I can think. Good when you need structure, but not forever. Modified contact for shared kids, workplace, or messy living situations. Limit to logistics only, in writing when possible. Gray rock/low engagement. When full cuts aren't possible, respond minimally, avoid personal topics, don't react emotionally. Say it like this: Copy these exact lines if you need them. Full no-contact script. I need space to heal. I'm not available to talk. Please respect that. Modified contact script. For the kids' schedules, I'll handle X and you handle Y. Outside of that, I need no contact. Gray rock reply. Noted. And nothing more. 2. Lock the environment so the boundary isn't a test of willpower. Turn off notifications for their number. Mute or unfollow on social platforms. Yes, even if it feels dramatic. Archive messages instead of rereading them. Move photos to a sealed folder or a physical box. Out of sight, out of ritual. Change small routines that trigger you. New coffee shop, different route home, a playlist that isn't shared. 3. Automate enforcement. Make the boundary self-operating. Set an auto-reply. I'm taking space to heal. I'll respond after date. Use blockers or screen time limits during vulnerable hours. I'll give a friend permission to delete tempting messages or call you before you respond. Accountability is a cheat code. 4. If you can't go full no contact, use Gray Rock like a pro. Keep interactions factual, short, and about logistics. No feelings. No stories. No openers. Prepare one-line exits. I can't discuss this right now, then walk away. Don't apologize for protecting your peace. You're not the villain for prioritizing your mental health. 5. Expect grief, not failure. Boundaries will feel brutal at first. That's normal. Your brain is withdrawing from a reward it learned to expect. You might slip. That doesn't mean you failed. Reset. Reapply the boundary the next minute, hour, or day. Consistency over perfection wins. A quick toolkit. 3 micro actions to start tonight. 1. Text your support person. I'm trying no contact from now till date. If I reply to them, call me. Give them permission to interrupt your impulse. 2. Move the physical triggers. Take the photos off your phone home screen. Put them in a box. Label it sealed. 3. Set one hard rule. No social media at 8 to 11 p.m. for the next 2 weeks. Nights are a gravity well for ruminating. What do you do if they break the boundary? Be clear in advance about the consequence and apply it calmly. Example, if you contact me outside logistics, I will block. Then block. It feels sharp the first time, but it teaches your brain that your boundaries are serious. People test limits. Your strength is showing up for yourself anyway. When Maya finally enforced her rule, blocked the number for 3 weeks, accepted help from her friend, and swapped late-night scrolling for a walk, she didn't wake up cured. She woke up with fewer chains around her ankles. She had space to miss, to grieve, and to remember who she was without the constant weather of someone else's presence. A note that matters. If there's abuse, stalking, or danger in your situation, boundaries alone aren't enough. Safety first. Contact local support services or trusted people who can help you make a safety plan. Here's the hard truth and the beautiful one. Boundaries feel selfish at first and self-loving in the long run. They teach your brain that you are someone worth protecting. And that lesson is the soil where new life grows. Before we go, one tiny test you can do right now. Pick one boundary from the list above and write it in the comments as a single short sentence. I'll read them all. If you're shy, write it in your notes and schedule a reminder to honor it for 72 hours. That small, early win is the beginning of a new map. If this chapter landed, smash that like. It helps other people who are stuck find the help they need. Subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss Chapter 4, where we learn how to detach with compassion, how to let go without turning into someone you don't recognize. And if you're ready to go deeper, type the one boundary you'll try this week below. I'll see you there. Chapter 4, Detaching with Compassion, Letting Go Without Becoming Cold. There's a dangerous trade-off people make after a breakup. They swap pain for armor. They tell themselves, I'll never let anyone hurt me like that again, and wear that vow like a coat of concrete. At first it feels strong. Later it feels heavy. Somewhere between the promise of protection and the weight of the armor, you can lose your softness. And losing that softness is its own kind of suffering. Let me take you back to Maya. After she'd enforced no contact, something odd happened. She felt less frantic, but she also felt hardened. When friends asked how she was, she gave clipped answers. When they talked about her ex, her voice carried a chill that surprised even her. It kept her safe, yes, but it also made her lonely in a new way. She wanted peace without turning into someone she barely recognized. That's where compassionate detachment comes in. It's the art of holding boundaries without burning bridges in your own heart. It's saying, I deserve to heal, while still being human toward the person who hurt you. It doesn't mean you reconcile. It means you refuse to let anger calcify into your entire personality. Think of detachment as 3 threads you can weave together: clarity, distance, and compassion. Clarity is your boundary. It says what you will and will not accept. Distance is the practical scaffolding, the no contact, the muted socials, the new route home. Compassion is the surprising wire that prevents you from becoming a brittle version of yourself. It's what makes your boundaries humane instead of punitive. Here are concrete, field-tested ways to detach with compassion. Short, practical moves you can use when the impulse to lash out or the ache to cling shows up. 1. The 2-step pause. Quick, 30 seconds. When you feel rage or the urge to retaliate, stop. Breathe twice. Label the emotion. I'm angry. I'm hurt. Then add 1 compassionate sentence. They're hurting too. Or that person is human and scared. This doesn't excuse behavior. It simply doesn't let fury write your script. That 2-step pause rewires the automatic burn then blast reaction into a choose your response pattern. 2. The compassionate letter, unsent. Write a letter where you say the hard truths and also the human ones. Start with the facts, what happened, how it impacted you. Then include a paragraph where you imagine what might have shaped them: childhood, fear, loneliness. Close with a real wish for yourself. I wish I can stop hurting. I wish I can move on. You don't send it. You release it, tear it up, burn it, or put it in a box. The act of expressing and releasing is therapeutic. It's legal kindness. You get to be honest, and you get to be merciful. 3. The radical, but reframe, 3 to 5 minutes. When your mind invents a villain story, they did X, therefore they are Y. Interrupt with a simple but. Example: they lied to me, but they were probably terrified of losing face. The but doesn't excuse. It shrinks the story from a cosmic verdict to a complicated human choice. Repeated often, this reframe diminishes the binary good/bad script and opens nuance, which calms the emotional temperature. 4. Loving kindness micropractice, 2 to 4 minutes. Sit, breathe, and repeat silently. May I be safe. May I be well. May I be free from suffering. Then extend it to the other. May you be safe. May you be well. If pronouncing their name feels impossible, use that person or imagine them as a child. Studies show even brief meta practices increase positive emotions and reduce anger. You're not giving them a pass. You're unhooking your nervous system from perpetual threat. 5. Compassionate boundaries script. Say it once, mean it. Use calm scripts that hold the line without venom. I need space to heal. I won't be in contact for now. For the kid's sake, we'll coordinate logistics by message only. If confronted, a soft but firm line: I hear you. I'm protecting my mental health right now. Practice these aloud in front of a mirror. The gentleness in your voice matters. It teaches your body that you can be strong and kind simultaneously. 6. The empathy flip, 5 to 10 minutes. Spend 5 minutes imagining their worst day. What small humiliation, fear, or insecurity might have preceded the act that hurt you. This isn't about excusing, it's about broadening perspective. When you humanize them in small, controlled doses, you reduce the fuel that keeps resentment smoldering. 7. Self-compassion first, the anchor. Detachment with compassion collapses if you neglect yourself. Use short daily anchors. A 5-minute journal entry that begins "What I need today is," or a small ritual, a cup of tea, a walk, a song, you do solely to replenish. Self-compassion gives you emotional bandwidth to be humane toward others without sacrificing your recovery. A quick myth-busting moment. People confuse compassion with weakness. Not true. Compassion requires strength. You have to hold pain, frustration, and disappointment and still choose a non-reactive response. It's discipline plus heart. Back to Maya. She tried being gentle with herself and tried the compassion letter. When she thought of him, she didn't try to bottle it. She observed it, named it, and sent herself to a ritual, a short walk, a warm tea, a page in her journal. When she encountered his name online, she paused and chose one of her scripts instead of lashing out. Over time, she noticed she felt lighter, not because she'd forgiven in the old sense, but because she had stopped feeding a private furnace of hatred. One reality you need to hold: compassion may not reduce the pain overnight, but it prevents grief from curdling into malice. It protects your future relationships, your self-worth, and your ability to be present for the people who matter. Here's a practical challenge for you: a tiny, high-return action. Tonight, write one unsent compassionate sentence about the person who hurt you. Keep it short. Put it somewhere private or destroy it. Then do one small self-care ritual for yourself: a warm shower, a favorite snack, 10 minutes of music. That 2 step sends your brain a message. You can be honest and still humane. You can protect your peace and keep your heart from becoming brittle. If this resonated, please do 3 small things for me. Hit like so other people stuck in that same fog can find this. Subscribe if you want the next chapter to help you reframe your story, and drop one word in the comments, the word you want to grow into. I read every comment. Let's keep your softness. It's not a liability. It's your strength. Chapter 5. Reframe your story. CBT and ACT tools to break emotional fusion. You ever catch yourself replaying one story on loop? The one where you're always the wreck, the villain, the fool? It feels like truth because you have rehearsed it 1,000 times. But rehearsal isn't proof. It's performance. And the trick to getting unstuck is learning how to change the script without pretending the pain didn't happen. Let me take you back to Maya. A month into her boundary work, she still woke up believing one loud sentence: "I ruined everything." It followed her into coffee shops, into conversations, into bed. It was the narrator of her private life. One evening, she tried something different, not because she felt brave, but because she felt tired of being edited by a single thought. She sat down, wrote down that sentence, and then asked a series of tiny, brutal, practical questions about it. Those questions didn't soft-pedal her pain. They started to unhook the story from absolute truth. Here's the core idea: thoughts are not commands. They're events in the mind, like clouds passing overhead. But when you fuse with a thought, "I am unlovable," it becomes less like a cloud and more like a chain. 2 powerful therapy traditions: cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, and acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT, give us tools to unfuse thoughts and choose actions that fit who we want to be. Below are concrete, usable tools you can try tonight. No fluff, just things that work. Tool 1. Quick thought record, 5 to 10 minutes. When a painful story shows up, do this simple record. Write 4 lines. 1. Situation: where were you? What triggered it? 2. Automatic thought: the story: I ruined everything. 3. Evidence for the thought: list facts that support it. 4. Evidence against the thought: list facts that contradict it. 5. Alternative balanced thought: a realistic reframe. Example with Maya. 1. Situation: saw his photo in a shared group. 2. Thought: I ruined everything. 3. Evidence for: I said things in anger last month. 4. Evidence against: we had good times. I also tried to be fair. I've handled hard endings before. 5. Reframe: I made mistakes, but one relationship doesn't define my entire life. Why it helps: you trade a feeling-led verdict for a factual check. Your brain likes clarity. Give it facts. Tool 2. Cognitive diffusion. I'm having the thought that: 1 to 3 minutes. When a thought feels true, put a label in front of it. Try these 2 fast drills. Say it out loud: I'm having the thought that I'm unlovable. Sing it to the tune of Happy Birthday or a silly commercial jingle. Why this works: changing the form of a thought, saying it, singing it, makes your mind see it as a mental event, not an identity. Tool 3. Urge surfing, 3 to 10 minutes. When the impulse to text, check, or seek revenge hits, ride the wave instead of acting. 1. Notice the urge. Name it. I have an urge to text. 2. Locate it physically: chest, throat, stomach. 3. Breathe deeply and monitor the intensity for 10 minutes. Watch it rise, peak, and fall. 4. If you still want to act after the wave passes, choose an intentional action. Why it helps. Urges are biological, they peak and pass. Surfing weakens the reflex to react. Tool 4. Behavioral experiment, 20 to 60 minutes planning. Test a belief instead of assuming it. Pick one belief, e.g., if I stop contacting them, I'll be forgotten, and design a small experiment. 1. State the hypothesis. If I don't text for 72 hours, people will forget me. 2. Choose the action. No contact for 72 hours. Instead, invite a friend for coffee. 3. Observe results. What happened? Who reached out? How did you feel? 4. Update belief based on evidence. Why it helps. Reality testing rewrites catastrophic stories with lived data. Tool 5. Values plus committed action, 10 minutes. CBT helps unstick thinking. ACT connects you to who you want to be. 1. Pick one value, e.g., connection, creativity, health. 2. Choose one tiny, specific action that aligns. Call one person, write 200 words, walk 20 minutes. 3. Commit. Schedule it now. Do it even if you don't feel like it. Why it helps. Values pull you toward life rather than away from pain. Tool 6. The double standard test, 3 to 5 minutes. Would you say the same thing to your best friend? If your friend told you, I ruined everything, what would you say to them? Usually you're kinder to others. Borrow that voice. Why it helps. Forces perspective shift and compassion into your reasoning. A short practice you can do tonight. 1. When the story shows up, do a 60-second diffusion. I'm having the thought that. 2. Do a 5-minute thought record for the loudest belief. 3. Pick one value and one tiny action you'll take before tomorrow. Back to Maya. She tried the thought record and the behavioral experiment in the same week. Her initial hypothesis, if I stop trying, I'll be erased, didn't hold. People she mattered to still showed up. She didn't erase the pain, but she found evidence that contradicted the catastrophic script, and those small facts changed the narrator's tone. One last, honest note, these tools are not magic. They are practice. You will relapse into old stories. That's part of the process. The goal isn't perfection, it's building a muscle. Over time, your mind will stop running the same worn-out script and start letting other, truer stories have airtime. If one of these tools landed, do me this small favor. Pick which one you'll try tonight and drop it in the comments. One word is enough. I read every one. If you want a printable thought record template, type template, and I'll pin a simple version in the comments right now. Hit like to help others find this, and subscribe so you don't miss Chapter 6, where we build daily rituals that make these tiny changes permanent. Chapter 6, Rituals of Release. Practical daily steps, exercises, and closures. Close your eyes for a second. Picture the worst part of a late night after a breakup. The scroll, the playlist that drags you back, the light in your phone like a tiny lighthouse for every bad idea. Now imagine replacing that single destructive reflex with one tiny, repeatable action that lowers the volume on the ache and gives you back a piece of calm. Not dramatic, not instant, but steady. Rituals do exactly that. They reroute energy, slow the brain, and turn pain into practice. Let me tell you what Maya did one desperate, hungover with grief night. Instead of scrolling, she boiled water, brewed a tea she used to hate, sat on the kitchen floor with an old notebook, and wrote a letter to the version of herself who'd been swallowed by the relationship. She didn't send it. She read it out loud, folded it, and put it in a shoebox labeled sealed. She made a small cup of tea sacred for herself. That single ritual, tiny, repeatable, private, became a hinge in her recovery. Nights where she used the ritual were easier than next morning. That's the biology of ritual. Repetition builds muscle. Muscle gives you choices. Below are short, no-nonsense rituals you can use tonight and every night after that. Each one is built to be simple, emotionally honest, and designed to break the automatic loops that keep you stuck. The 5-minute unsent letter. 1. Grab paper or your phone notes. 2. Spend 5 minutes writing everything you're tempted to send to them. Be specific. Dates, hurts, confessions. 3. Close with one sentence to yourself. What I need right now is underscore, 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 underscore. 4. Do not send. Crumple it, burn it safely, or put it in a sealed box. Why it works: expression without consequence. Language releases emotion, and sealing it creates a symbolic boundary. The anchor walk, 10 to 20 minutes. 1. Step outside. No headphones for the first 5 minutes. 2. Name 5 things you can see, 4 you can hear, 3 you can smell. 3. Choose one phrase to repeat. I am walking toward my life. 4. Return and make one small productive move. Wash a dish, reply to one friend. Why it works: movement plus sensory grounding interrupts rumination and gives your brain a new associative cue. The 2-minute reset. When the urge to text hits, breathe in for 4, hold 2, out 6. Open your lips and say aloud, I'm having the urge to contact. Wait 2 minutes. If it passes, great. If not, surf it for 10 more. Why it works: short physiological reset weakens the immediate drive to react. The box and bury, symbolic closure. Create a physical box. Put a photo, a note, and one small object in it. Label it sealed, and place it on a high shelf or under the bed. Optionally, write a release ritual, a sentence you read aloud as you close it. Why it works: gives physical distance and a place to store the past so your present can be free. Nightly 3 things ritual, 5 to 10 minutes. Before bed, write 3 things you did for yourself today, 3 things you've forgiven yourself for, and 3 small wins. Not big, small counts. Close with a deep breath and one calm sentence. I am allowed to rest. Why it works: rewires your brain to notice growth, even in tiny increments. Trigger map, 20 to 30 minutes. Take a sheet and map every moment that makes you pull up their face in your mind: song, smell, place, time of day. For each trigger, write a replacement action, new playlist, different route, a friend to call. Tape the map where you'll see it for a week. Why it works: turning passive triggers into tactical actions reduces accidental relapse. Micro-jubilee, daily positive anchor. Schedule one tiny pleasure each day, a 5-minute sun break, a song you love, a small stretch. Celebrate it. Literally say out loud, this is mine. Why it works: your brain needs positive hits that aren't tied to the person you're leaving behind. The closure conversation script, only if safe and necessary. If you must have closure and it's safe and likely to be received calmly, prepare. One short statement, one boundary, one exit line. Example: I appreciate what we had. I need to stop contact to heal. This is goodbye for now. Walk away. Why it works: one clean, brief message avoids reopening negotiations and gives you dignity. 30-day reset plan, quick scaffold. Week 1, stabilize. Pick 2 micro rituals, 5-minute letter plus 2-minute reset. Do them nightly. Week 2, repair days. Add anchor walks and a single social call to a friend twice this week. Week 3, expand. Start one hobby micro session, 10 to 20 minutes, 3 times this week. Week 4, integrate. Choose a ritual you'll keep. Nightly 3 things or micro jubilee. Assess wins, not losses. Why it works: small, staged exposures build confidence. Recovery isn't sprinting, it's a measured, repeatable program. Relapse protocol: you will slip. Here's what to do. 1. Pause. Don't dramatize. Say aloud, I slipped. I'm okay. 2. Do one immediate ground, 2-minute reset or anchor walk. 3. Journal one sentence. What triggered me, and what will I do differently next time? 4. Contact one accountability person. I slipped. Can you check in tomorrow? Why it works: relapses are data, not failure. A clean reset preserves momentum. Practical environment changes, the small, decisive moves. Move their photos off your phone wallpaper. Mute notifications for shared spaces. Change one routine that used to cue memories. New coffee shop, new route. Put a sticky note on your mirror. Today I choose me. These are tiny physical nudges that reduce friction when temptation arises. A last, quiet truth. Rituals don't make pain disappear, they give pain structure. Structure breeds predictability. Predictability calms the nervous system. Over time, the rituals become associated not with loss, but with self-care. They teach your brain that when grief arrives, you have a response besides scrolling and self-sabotage. Here's a tiny, sweet challenge. Pick one ritual from this chapter and do it today, right now. If it's the 5-minute unsent letter, do 5 minutes and then put it somewhere safe. Then come back here and comment the word you used to close the letter, one word. I'll read them all. If this helped, hit like so others who are stuck can find it. Subscribe if you want the 30-day plan pinned in the comments. And share this with a friend who needs a small, steady lifeline. Do the ritual. Come back and tell me one small thing that changed. I'll see you in Chapter 7. Chapter 7, Reclaiming You, Identity, Values, and Self-Compassion After Love. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing the playlist that used to play in your head, the one with we, us, and together as the chorus, has gone silent. For a second there's relief, and then a dull, stubborn question. Who's left when the we is gone? That question is the hard edge of loss. But it's also the place where you get to rebuild something truer. Meet Maya again. For years she described her life as an us. Her calendar, her jokes, even the little rituals in the morning were threaded through someone else. After the breakup, she wandered through the day like an actor without a script. The worst part wasn't the pain. It was the blank space where her identity used to be. She felt disconnected from friends, work, and the simplest pleasures. That blank terrified her. It felt like an erasure. Here's the unromantic truth. Relationships don't just take time. They reorganize identity. You adopt roles, rhythms, and habits that make sense in a pair. Partner, planner, peacemaker, co-parent, travel buddy. When the pairing ends, those role-shaped routines collapse, and the person you were when you were we feels familiar and gone. But familiarity is not fate. Identity is built with tiny actions, minute-by-minute choices that add up. You can reforge yourself, and this chapter shows you exactly how. 3 ideas to hold first. 1. Identity is active, not fixed. Who you are is a series of practiced behaviors. Change the practice, change the self. 2. Values are anchors. When your life is untethered, values become the compass that points you home. 3. Self-compassion grows the margin you need to try on new roles without panic for perfection. Below are focused, practical drills, short, gritty, and designed to help you reclaim a self that's independent, whole, and kind. Exercise 1. Values inventory, 15 to 20 minutes. Purpose. Find the North Star you'll build around. How to. Get a pen and paper. Write down values from this quick starter list. Pick 8 to 12. Curiosity, courage, kindness, creativity, independence, health, learning, service, honesty, joy, growth, presence, friendship, adventure. Circle the 3 that make your chest tighten in a good way. Not what sounds nice, but what feels like an ache of recognition. For each circled value, write one tiny action you can do this week that proves you're serious. E.g., for creativity, write 200 words. For friendship, call one person and ask how they really are. Why it works. Values are identity scaffolding. When you act on them, your nervous system recognizes you as yourself again. Exercise 2. The Who Am I Now? List, 10 to 15 minutes. Purpose. Separate what you lost from what you still own. How to. Make 2 columns, roles I had and roles I want. Under roles I had, list things that were tied to the relationship, weird playlist curator, weekend planner. Under roles I want, write things that resonate beyond the relationship, morning runner, friend who checks in, artist in training. Pick one role from the want column and commit to one micro behavior that proves it, 15 to 30 minutes a day or a 3x/week habit. Why it works. Role practice is identity building by doing. Exercise 3. Future self letter, 15 to 20 minutes. Purpose. Plant the future in language and emotion. How to. Write a short letter from the you want to be in 6 months. Describe a day in that life. What time you wake, who you meet, what you love doing. Be specific and sensory. The coffee, the morning walk, the book you're reading. Close with one pledge. One thing you will do daily that aligns with that future. Read the letter once a week. Why it works. Articulating a vivid future gives your brain a blueprint that it can start executing now. Exercise 4. Identity micro-commitments, daily. Purpose. Small wins stack into real change. How to. Pick 3 micro-commitments tied to your values, e.g., write 10 minutes before work, walk 20 minutes at lunch, say no once a week to something that drains me. Put them on your calendar like appointments. Treat them as non-negotiable. Mark them done. Celebrate quietly when you do. Why it works. Repetition rewires. Micro-commitments make identity tangible and low friction. Exercise 5. Mirror work and self-compassion script. 5 minutes daily. Purpose. Restore kindness toward yourself. How to. Stand in front of a mirror, take 3 slow breaths, and say, I am allowed to heal. I am allowed to be whole. I am allowed to make mistakes. If a harsh self-judgment appears, answer it with one compassionate fact. I love because I am human. I can learn. Keep this simple. Don't force feelings. Keep returning to the practice. Why it works. Physical presence plus words changes how your brain treats you. Exercise 6. Social reboot, variable. Purpose. Rebuild a supporting cast that reflects who you're becoming. How to. Audit your social feed and event list. Who drains you? Who energizes you? Politely prune what makes you smaller. Deliberately schedule 1 growth contact per week. A class, a meetup, a volunteer shift, or coffee with someone who models a value you admire. Try 1 new group or activity this month. You don't have to commit forever. You're collecting possibilities. Why it works. Environment and people shape identity faster than willpower alone. Exercise 7. The Role Edition, 1 afternoon. Purpose. Try on a new self without long-term pressure. How to. Pick a role you want, painter, runner, mentor, and spend an afternoon acting as that person would. Dress slightly differently. Do 1 activity associated with that role. Talk to 1 person as that role. Reflect. What felt true? What felt foreign? Keep what lands. Why it works. Acting changes feeling. You learn by doing. A few reality truths before you sprint. Rebuilding takes small, boring consistency, not crisis-level effort. The days you don't feel like it, the action still counts. Identity slips will happen. When you stumble, respond like a coach, not a judge. Ask, what did I learn? What's the next small step? If you feel stuck in shame, depression, or anxiety that doesn't ease with these exercises, please reach out to a mental health professional. Therapy is a high-return investment when identity is fraying. Maya's turning point came from tiny, cumulative moves. She picked creativity and friendship as her top values. She wrote 1 paragraph every morning and messaged 1 friend each week without expecting anything in return. She practiced mirror phrases for 5 minutes nightly. Within 6 weeks, she noticed something simple but huge. Choices started feeling like hers again. Her life didn't get spectacular overnight. It got slightly truer each day. Before we close this chapter, here's a short practice to start right now. A 3-minute identity anchor. 1. Name 1 value that matters most to you today. 2. Say 1 micro-commitment you'll keep for the next 48 hours that honors it. 3. Write both on a sticky note and place it where you'll see it when you wake. If that landed, do me 3 small favors that matter more than you think. Hit like so others who are lost in someone else's reflection can find this. Subscribe if you want the next chapter where we reconnect and replace old habits with new purpose. And in the comments, type the single value you're going to reclaim this week. 1 word. I read them all, and I'll pin the 3 most common ones to inspire others. You're not erasing the past. You're drafting a quieter, braver future, 1 small habit at a time. Chapter 8. Reconnect and replace. Building support, purpose, and new habits. There's a particular silence that follows a breakup, not the quiet of a peaceful house, but the heavy, echoing kind that makes the walls feel miles away. You reach for a life you used to share and find fingerprints instead of a map. That silence can feel endless, or it can be the moment you choose to make new noise. When Maya first moved out of the old routine, nights were the worst. She'd sit with the echo and think, if I can't have them, what am I even doing? The real pivot came the night she accepted a stupid little volunteer shift at a community garden because she had nothing better to do. She expected boredom. Instead, she met people who smelled like soil and coffee and midweek laughter. 2 weeks later, she found herself learning to prune, trading recipe tips with an older woman, and waking up to a schedule that belonged to her again. The garden didn't replace what she lost, but it replaced the auto-scroll, the replay loop, and gave her tiny reasons to get out of bed. Those reasons accumulated. New habits stacked. New friendships formed. Her silence turned into a slow, steady life that had her in it. That's the point of this chapter. Reconnecting doesn't mean pretending nothing hurt. It means replacing the patterns that kept you stuck with new patterns that move you forward. Small, strategic replacements, not grand reinventions, are what keep you from sliding back into old loops. Here's how to do it without drama, with science-sensible strategies and zero fluff. Start with a map, social and trigger audit. Draw 2 columns, people who pull you down / people who pull you up. Under each, jot concrete examples. Who drains you? Who listens? Who laughs with you? Who shows up? Then map triggers, times, places, songs, apps that lead to relapse. This gives you clarity. You can't change what you don't see. Replace, don't just remove, the simple rule. Removal without replacement creates a vacuum. That vacuum becomes temptation. So for everything you cut, midnight scrolling, stalking socials, rereading old messages, choose one replacement action that's immediate and repeatable. Examples: scrolling at 10 p.m., 10-minute walk, plus one song you love. Rereading texts, 5-minute unsent letter plus put the phone face down. Drinking to forget 2 glasses of water plus a 3-minute breathing exercise. Tiny, daily habits win. Habit stacking and temptation bundling. Use habit stacking. Attach a new habit to an existing one. After I brush my teeth, I will write 1 sentence. Use temptation bundling. Combine something you love with something you need to do. I'll listen to my favorite podcast only when I go for a run. These are low-friction ways to make new things stick. Design your environment like a coach. Out of sight, out of ritual. Move photos to a sealed folder, unsubscribe or mute. Change the playlist. Rearrange the apartment so old cues aren't constant hits. Make the easier choice the healthier one. Your future self will thank you. Build a small support scaffolding. Ask one trusted person to be your accountability buddy, not to fix you, but to check in. Give them a script. If I text at 2 a.m., call me and say hold on. Add 1 weekly human appointment, coffee, a class, or a phone call. Humans are social animals. Gentle, regular contact prevents isolation from becoming a trap. Try one project that matters, a purpose push. Pick a 30-day micro-project with visible progress. It can be anything with a finish: 30 photos, 30 pages, 30 runs, 30 meals cooked for you. The goal is visible evidence that your life is moving forward. Break it into daily 10 to 20-minute actions. Finish it. Celebrate it. Share one thing from it with one person. Projects change the way your brain assigns meaning. Lean into pro-social action. Helping others rewires the value meter. Volunteer, tutor, cook for a neighbor, help out at a local shelter. These small acts produce meaning, connection, and biochemical boosts that are not tied to a single person's response. Purpose is a quiet, stubborn healer. Use implementation intentions. Plan for the hard moments. An if-then plan beats panic. Examples: if I get the urge to text, then I will drink a glass of water and wait 15 minutes. If I see their photo online, then I will close the app and message one friend need distraction. Say these out loud, write them down, pin one to the fridge. Planning simplifies your brain's job in the moment. Find a learning loop. Pick a small skill. Learning creates forward momentum. Sign up for a class, an online tutorial, or a weekly meetup. Don't aim for mastery. Aim for the dopamine of progress. The skill anchors identity and gives you new communities. Create micro-ceremonies for wins and losses. Ritualize small successes. Finish a project? Make tea. Write one line about what you learned, then text one supportive friend. Slip up? Pause. Name one thing you gained from the mistake. Then do one tiny corrective action. Rituals turn randomness into rhythm. Be strategic with social reentry. If you're nervous about dating or new friendships, start with low-pressure environments. Classes, clubs, volunteering. Meet people around activities, not cocktails. Ask one simple question when you meet someone. What are you working on now? Conversations that focus on projects slide past small talk and reveal possible companions for your new life. Keep an eye on your nervous system, micro-recovery practices. Daily anchors matter. 5 minutes of breath work, a 10-minute walk, a 2-minute grounding exercise before bed. These tiny practices prevent desperation from hijacking your choices. The 3-week starter blueprint. Week 1, map plus replace. Do the social and trigger audit. Pick 3 replacements for your top triggers. Do one small ritual daily, 2-minute reset, or anchor walk. Week 2, connect plus commit. Message one person and set a weekly check-in. Start a 30-day micro-project and do day 1. Attend one group activity or volunteer shift. Week 3, expand plus embed. Habit stack 2 new tiny habits. Finish the first 10 days of your micro-project. Make one public or semi-public commitment, a post, a message, or a small share with a friend. What to do when loneliness hits hard. Have a connect list. 3 people to call, 2 distracting activities, 1 small help task, cook, clean, laundry. Keep it simple. The more pre-planned your actions, the less chance your brain will default to old patterns. Back to Maya. Her garden became a scaffold, but it was the habits she built around it that held the change. She texted one friend every Sunday. She did 2 small creative tasks every morning, and she made a promise to herself. Finish the 30-day photo project. Weeks later, she realized the silence no longer froze her. It became a quiet space where she could breathe, plan, and do. Not suddenly, not perfectly, but steadily. One last, short promise to you. Growth doesn't require a grand life collapse. It requires tiny, consistent choices that nudge your life toward people, projects, and practices that care for you. If you replace one small thing today, one habit, one human contact, one short project, you have made a real, measurable step away from the loop that held you. If you're ready to try this, do 3 tiny things right now. Pick one replacement for your biggest trigger, message one person to schedule a check-in, and choose a 30-day micro-project you'll start tomorrow. Drop the single word of your chosen replacement in the comments. One word, e.g., walk, and I'll read every single one. Hit like to help someone else find this when they need it, and subscribe so you don't miss Chapter 9 where we'll tame triggers and build relapse-proof routines. Come back and tell me one small thing you replaced this week. I want to celebrate it with you. Chapter 9, Taming Triggers, Social Media, Anniversaries, and Relapse Prevention. You open your phone for 5 seconds and suddenly it's 3 hours later. Heart racing, eyes tired, and you feel like you just walked through a minefield of memories. One photo, one song, one notification, and a day derails. Triggers are tiny, fast, and deceptively powerful. They don't ask permission. They hijack your attention and make your progress feel fragile. Let me tell you what happened to Maya. She'd been doing the rituals, the boundary work, the little identity practices. Things were actually getting quieter until the 2-year anniversary of their song came up on a playlist. It was on repeat in a cafe across town. She froze, every clean routine evaporating like salt in rain. For the next 3 days, she woke up to the same old spiral. It wasn't a collapse, it was a triggered loop. The difference between getting stuck forever and getting through it was how prepared she was. Triggers are conditioned cues, a tune, a route home, a friend who texts you first, an hour of the night. They don't care about logic, they care about association. Once we accept that, the work becomes tactical. Identify the cues, build an emergency plan, and replace the automatic reaction with a practiced response. Here's how to do that. with practical moves you can use immediately and every time a trigger shows up. Step 1. Map the triggers. Make a hit list. Take 10 minutes and list everything that reliably pulls you into a spiral. Apps, songs, times of day, places, mutual friends, anniversaries, items in the apartment, even smells. Be exhaustive. The clearer the map, the smarter the strategy. Put the 3 worst triggers at the top. Those are your priority. Step 2. Digital triage. Social media tactics that actually work. Social media is a trigger factory. Algorithms serve the past back to you. Here's how to regain control. Quick triage. Mute, unfollow, archive, block. Don't rationalize. If a profile is a relapse vector, remove it. Temporary deactivation. Consider a 7 to 30-day break. No shame. It's a reset, not a retreat. Create a soft feed. Follow accounts that inspire your new life, hobbies, fitness, creativity, and unfollow people who are time capsules of the past. Use tech, screen time limits, app blockers during vulnerable hours, and notification management. Put the apps in a folder or off your home screen. Out of sight equals fewer ritual checks. Rename and relocate. Change the label on a chat group or move it to a less visible folder. Small frictions save you when willpower is low. Step 3. Pre-plan for anniversaries and dates. Don't wing it. Anniversaries are predictable landmines. The smartest move is a plan. Calendar warning. 2 weeks before a hard date. Put a note in your calendar. Anniversary plan. Ritual replacements. Schedule something meaningful for yourself. A hike, a dinner with a friend, a small donation in your name, or the 2-minute reset followed by your micro-ritual. Prepare lines. If they reach out, have a short script ready. I'm taking space right now. I can't talk today. Say it once and keep the boundary. Memory ceremony. If you need closure, create a short ritual to honor what was and then release it. A letter you burn, a planted seed, a playlist you archive. Purposeful action changes ownership of the memory. Step 4. Build an emergency kit. Use it like CPR. Make a physical or digital kit you can access in a crisis. Keep it simple. A 1-sentence mantra. I will survive this. A 60-second grounding script. Name 5 things you see, 4 you hear, 3 you move, 2 you breathe, 1 you feel. A friend's number for a call/text. Call me, please. An unsent letter template and a seal folder. Write, seal, don't send. A small ritual object, photo moved to box, a token, a tea. When a trigger hits, pull the kit out. Don't decide in the heat of the moment. Step 5. If-then planning, implementation intentions that do the heavy lifting. Decide in advance exactly what you will do when a trigger appears. The brain loves rules. Examples. If I see their face on social, then I will close the app and do 5 minutes of walking. If I feel the urge to text at 10 p.m., then I will text my accountability buddy the word hold and wait 30 minutes. Write these down and keep them where you can see them. Step 6. Urge surfing and cognitive tools. Don't fight, ride. Physical urges peak and pass. Use these techniques. Urge surfing. Observe the urge, name it, breathe, note its intensity, and ride it out. It will fall. Cognitive diffusion. I'm having the thought that I need to check. Say it aloud or sing it. Making the thought into an event removes its authority. The 2-minute rule. Delay any impulsive response for 2 minutes. Then 5. Each delay weakens the reflex. Step 7. Relapse prevention protocol. Because slips will happen. Relapse is not failure, it's information. Have a clear reset when it happens. Pause and breathe. Don't catastrophize. Say, I slipped. I'm okay. Use the emergency kit immediately. Ground. Call a buddy. Do 1 micro-ritual. Log it. 1-sentence entry. What triggered me? What did I do? What will I change next time? Reapply boundaries. Mute. Block. Archive as needed. Small restitution. Do 1 useful thing. Walk. Text 1 friend. Do a small project task. Replace the momentum. Step 8. Special cases, shared spaces, work, and co-parenting. If you share a child, a workplace, or a home, triggers are woven into logistics. Use structure. Move contact to logistics-only channels, shared calendar, email for schedules. Pre-written templates for communication, short, factual, unemotional. Co-parent plan, parallel rules about messaging, neutral exchange points, and a mediator if needed. If living together temporarily, a mediated plan with clear boundaries and relocation timelines helps reduce daily triggers. Step 9. Build long-term defenses, habits that inoculate. Short-term fixes matter, but long-term resilience comes from lifestyle. Regular rhythms, sleep, exercise, nutrition, and micro-rituals stabilize the nervous system. Purpose projects. A 30-day micro-project gives forward momentum and rewrites meaning. Social scaffolding. Weekly check-ins with a friend, a support group, or therapy. Accountability is a superpower. Monthly audits. Once a month, redo the trigger map and update your digital triage. Small maintenance prevents big slip-ups. A quick scene with Maya. The anniversary came, and this time she treated it like a scheduled storm. 2 weeks before she put a calendar reminder, arranged a morning walk with a friend, loaded her emergency kit, and pre-wrote the script she'd send if contacted. When the tune came up in a cafe, she slipped on headphones, texted "hold" to her buddy, and went home to her ritual. The day was not easy, but it wasn't catastrophic. She did not let the date write the rest of her month. One honest note: if triggers include stalking, threats, or safety concerns, boundaries and apps aren't enough. Document everything, involve authorities, and get support from professionals. Safety first, always. Here's a tiny, powerful practice to do right now. Pick your single worst trigger and write it in the comments as one word. Below it, write one if-then rule you will use next time. Example: if I see their post, then I will close the app and walk for 10 minutes. That 2-line exercise takes 60 seconds and gives your brain a rule to follow when it matters most. If this landed, please do 3 sweet things for me. Like the video so someone else in their worst moment finds it. Subscribe for Chapter 10, where we integrate lessons and learn to love again carefully. And drop that one-word trigger plus your if-then in the comments. I read every single one, and will pin a few to help others build their own safety plans. You're not fragile. You're learning how to be wise with your heart. Chapter 10, From Loss to Growth. Integrating lessons and loving again. There's a moment most people tiptoe past when they talk about breakups. The moment when you start to imagine love again. It's both terrifying and magnetic. Can you hold a hard-earned scar and still open the door? Can you keep the lessons without becoming someone who never trusts? The answer is yes, but not by accident. You do it by integrating what you've learned and building a new, wiser way to love. Think back to Maya. Months after the garden and the rituals, she met someone at a pottery class. Slow, accidental, nothing like the rush she remembered. At first, she was terrified of being led by nostalgia or loneliness. So she did something she hadn't known how to do before. She brought a notebook, not to brainstorm what went wrong, but to write down 3 lessons she'd learned and the behaviors she would refuse to repeat. Before she let curiosity become intimacy, she tested small things. Could she say no? Could she keep a boundary? Did this person show up when it mattered? That small discipline kept her from repeating old loops and let her try again with courage and clarity. This chapter is the map for that next attempt, for moving from survival mode to a life that contains love, not consumes it. It's practical, honest, and rooted in the hard fact that people don't change overnight. They change by small, deliberate acts that add up. First, the integration checklist. Do this now. Find a notebook. Write 3 columns. 1. Lesson: what did the breakup teach you? 2. Behavior I will stop. What pattern will I refuse to repeat? 3. Behavior I will start. The exact small habit that proves change. Example: lesson: I let my worth depend on their attention. Stop: no more midnight texting to calm myself. Start: send 1, how am I doing? Text to a friend instead, and do a 10-minute grounding practice before bed. This is not therapy, but it's brutal and useful. Naming lessons converts pain into data. Data is actionable. Second, build your relationship blueprint. Before you date again, create a 1-page blueprint. It's a list of non-negotiables, values, and soft preferences, not a resume, a moral compass. Core elements. Values that matter, e.g., honesty, curiosity, kindness. 3 non-negotiables, e.g., no controlling behavior. Must be willing to own mistakes. Mutual respect about time with friends/family. Red flags you will not negotiate, gaslighting, repeated boundary violations, isolation tactics. A short phrase about pace. How slowly you want to move and how you'll check in. Keep it visible. A blueprint prevents fantasy from filling in gaps. Third, readiness markers. How to know you're actually ready. You don't need to be over it. That's a myth. Look for these signs instead. You can be with someone without needing them to fix your loneliness. You can say no, and the fear of loss doesn't instantly dissolve your boundary. You feel curious instead of desperate. You still have rituals that return you to yourself when things get messy. If these are absent, you can still date, but with clarity. Be honest with yourself and the other person about where you are emotionally. Fourth, dating like a grown person. Rules that protect your heart. Rules are tiny contracts with yourself. Here are practical ones that work. Slow the timeline for vulnerability. Test with small disclosures first and watch the response. Keep your routines. Don't surrender the rituals that sustain you for the sake of proximity. Use 3-date sanity checks, not as a rule for sex, but as a checkpoint for patterns. Are they consistent? Do they keep promises? Maintain at least 2 independent sources of joy daily: friendship, project, exercise. Don't make one person your entire ecosystem. Communicate one boundary early and kindly. I like to keep Sunday mornings for running/reading. It helps me stay balanced. See if it's respected. Sample lines you can actually use. I'm enjoying this, but I'm building slowly because I've been hurt before. When you say X, I feel Y. Can we try a different approach? I need to take the weekend to myself. It's nothing against you. Simple, clear, adult. Fifth, test trust with small stakes. Vulnerability doesn't mean dumping your trauma. It means calibrated testing. Share a small, honest thing and watch how they respond. Do they listen? Do they ask questions? Do they minimize? Ask for one modest favor and see if they follow through. Reliability is a slow burn intimacy builder. If they gaslight, minimize, or repeatedly fail on small asks, the bigger promises will likely fall apart. Sixth, red flags that deserve decisive action. Keep a short list that triggers a red light response. Repeated boundary violations after you've stated a need. Attempts to isolate you from friends/family. Blame shifting and refusal to own mistakes. Disrespect disguised as passion or honesty. When these appear, slow down or step away. Your blueprint helps you do it cleanly. Seventh, make love practice, not rescue. Relationships thrive when both people bring wholeness, not when one person is a fixer. Commit to weekly check-ins about how things are going. A shared values conversation early on, not romantic timelines, but practical expectations. Keeping your own therapy, friend time, and rituals. Growth is individual and relational at once. Eighth, continue the rituals that saved you. Don't leave the work at the finish line. Keep the kit, nightly rituals, the unsent letter, the emergency plan, accountability checks. These are not signs of weakness. They are the scaffolding of a mature life that holds love safely. Ninth, when to consider couples work. If things get serious and you both want durability, a short run of couples therapy or relationship coaching can accelerate healthy habits. It's not only for crisis, it's for craft. Some couples build better communication in 6 sessions than they once had in 6 months alone. 10th, a relapse map. What to do if the past calls. If an ex reappears or old patterns reemerge, use the protocol. 1. Pause and consult your blueprint. 2. Use your emergency kit and a trusted friend's support. 3. Journal the trigger and choose one corrective action. 4. Reapply boundaries with the same clarity you used before. Relapse is information, not doom. Finally, a short truth to hold. Loving again is not an erasure of what happened. It's an act of courage that honors both your history and your future. You get to carry the scar and still let light in. You get to protect what you've learned and still be open enough to be surprised. If this chapter gave you hope, do 3 tiny, mighty things right now. Like the video so someone else finds it when they're stuck. Subscribe for more deep dive chapters and comment one sentence. What is the single lesson you will carry into your next relationship? I'll read every comment. If you want a pinned checklist version of the relationship blueprint, type blueprint below and I'll post a simple, copyable template in the comments right now. You've done the hardest work already. You showed up, you felt, you held boundaries. Now lean into the small, brave acts that let love be wise. Sometimes, the hardest goodbyes are the ones we never wanted to say. But here's the truth. Letting go of someone you love isn't just an ending, it's a beginning. Every tear you've shed, every restless night you've survived, every ritual you've practiced, it's all shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more grounded than before. This isn't about forgetting them. It's about remembering you. It's about taking the love you once poured into someone else and learning to pour it back into yourself, so that when life opens the door again, you'll step into it with courage, not fear. And if this video resonated with you, if it spoke to that part of your heart that still aches but wants to heal, don't keep it to yourself. Hit the like button so others who are struggling can find this message too. Share it with that one friend who you know is secretly fighting the same battle. And subscribe, because this journey doesn't end here. I've got so much more to share with you, and I don't want you to miss the next step forward. Now, here's my final ask. Drop one word in the comments that describes how you feel right now after watching this. Just one word. It could be lighter, hopeful, determined, or even still hurting. Whatever it is, that word is your anchor, your mark in this moment. And I promise you, I'll be right there in the comments with you. So, thank you for being here. Thank you for being brave. And remember, this is not the end of your story. This is the start of a stronger you.